Hello guys, welcome back. So let's keep on going. Okay, so in the last video we have the server only doing the animation, right? But the client doesn't do that at all. Okay, now that's something we have to deal with. The something to be aware of is that if you look at the documentation, one thing you probably will be wondering is why is the working, right? Why is the running around working but the animation is not? Okay, if you go, because walking are also animations, isn't it? The attack animation is also animation. Why isn't it automatically done for us? If you scroll down here, then you can see why. Because for the server, common features of actors, pawns, and characters do not replicate those things. Skeletal mesh, material, animation blueprint, those things does not actually transfer over automatically for you. But for a character class, this is the class we're using, right? A character class. Of course, this is the base. This one, our warrior here, right, or swordsman, is based on character, right? So character does some replication for us already, like the movement, and that movement is driving the animation blueprint locally. So you're seeing all those animations being played. But when you're doing like a montage play, right, that's only gonna happen locally. It's not going to replicate over, right? None of the things are replicated over. Replication meaning just transfer the data to the other machines, so they're all the same. Now animation will not do that. Okay, so let's kind of make the animation work anyways. Okay, so now we're doing play animation, right? This is only going to play locally no matter where you call it. So we're calling this on the server because the function here is server, right? Server attack. If you do recall, server attack, right, calls play animation, but it's only going to do that locally because play animation is a function that only plays the animation locally. Again, animation will not be automatically transferred over to the other machines. In order to do that, we can ask it to be called on all other clients. Okay, so let's look for that play animation function. I'm gonna mark it also as a U function here, but this time instead of saying server, because it's already working on the server, I want it to be calling on all clients, and that's gonna be another type of remote procedural call called net multicast. Okay, and then it's gonna be also this time I'm gonna make it unreliable because it's just a animation. I know that it's guaranteed to be played on the server, and the server will do all the logic. Even somehow because of the bandwidth limitations that the animation is not played on the client, that's fun, right? That's just a visual thing. Maybe that's based on how you think about it. If this animation is crucial to give feedback to the player or not, right? But it's not going to determine how the health will be reduced or how the attack will be working. So technically speaking, it's not going to change how the game works. It's only going to change how this perception of the player, the actual human being who is playing it, may perceive it differently, but the game will work with or without this animation being played. So it could be unreliable, but that's up to you to judge, right? So because this becomes a net multicast, I oftentimes just have MC underscore multicast, so that way it becomes something more unique. Okay. And then I can try to implement it, Alt-Shift-I. Okay, you can see the implementation. I'm using Visual Assist, so I can do that, but you can see this is also like what we have before with the server call, right? You don't implement the function as it is, you add underscore implementation on the end of the name. Okay, now let me just cut this thing out and put it in here. I don't need that anymore. Right, so we have successfully changed our play animation into multicast play animation. Okay, so net multicast will be called if you call it on the server, it's the multicast to all clients. If you call it on the client, it's only going to happen on the client. So there's some different behaviors. If you look for a remote procedural call here and scroll down and look at the detailed explanation, right? In our scenario, we're calling it or invoking it on the server. It's a net multicast, So it's gonna run on server and our client. Okay, no matter what this is, right? The ownership is also something we probably need to explain, but in all situations, it's gonna run on server and our clients. If we call it on the server, if we call it on the client, you can see it's only gonna running on the invoking client, right? You look, read through this, you're gonna learn much more than me trying to explain this. But I just want to walk you through. But really, if you really want to know what's going on exactly and making your own decisions, to know it all, read through this networking documentation, right? In our case, we're calling it on the server because the function here is attack, right? That's where we call it. So when we do that, or let's just review what's happening, right? When we hit attack, server will do the attack, right? And server will do the attack and do the validation, and then it's gonna call the server implementation, which will call multicast play animation. Right now, based on their documentation, that it's gonna be called on server and our clients. Right, so our client will have to also run it. Now, because we mark it as unreliable here, it can, if the bandwidth is low, and it's maybe dropped. Okay, meaning that it may not be played, but that's okay, right? Let's compile this and then give this one more run. And now you can see when I'm, let me just walk in front of the client, the server, and left click. You can see now we're playing the animation on both the client and the server, and also the other clients, right? All three machines are playing the animation. What's happening is that the server is asking our client to do it. Okay, it's not the client doing it locally. The server does it first, and then all the clients follow. Right, that's what should be happening in the network, right? We don't want the client to decide anything, to do anything on their own, unless it's not important to the gameplay. Okay. All right, that's it. So we're gonna stop this video now. In the next one, we're actually gonna tackle the actual reduce of the house, because as you can see, the reducing of the house is still only happening locally. Even the animation is doing that. Even the server is doing the attack. Right, if you go to the server, you can see server is doing the attack also. It's reducing house, right? But again, it's actually happening on the client also in this case. That's good, but the client is not updating its behavior to the server in this case. So there's still something to be changed to make it work. So let's move on to the next video where we talk about how do we transfer those data. Especially the house, right, to make it work. Okay, let's do that in the next video.